Hey guys, Caitlin Proctor from okjane.com for those who don't know. I'm pretty sure everyone who watches these videos at this point knows me, but just in case, like my circle is just, it's not that big. But it's not what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. What I wanted to talk to you guys about is a string of things. First of all, I wanted to talk to you guys about kind of the energy of July and what's coming up, and a little bit about like how that has to do with like the planets. I don't really know that much about astrology, but I do know a lot about being an empath and feeling the energy and feeling what's going on and feeling the tension. So I really should learn a lot more about astrology because like I'm the person that goes into like absolute emotional episodes every full moon. Sometimes on the new moon, like it's crazy my patterns with the changes. And it wasn't until like a year ago that somebody connected the dots for me. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're also going to brush on a little bit about being an empath, because we've been talking about that lately, and I feel like there's becoming a lot more awareness around that, which is really awesome, because when you're an empath and you don't know you're an empath, you just feel like a crazy person. So let's see, where do we start? Where do we begin? Okay, so let's begin with the month of July. We're like a little over halfway through July of 2018. And apparently what's been going on is there are 6 planets in retrograde, and so it just has things really, really screwy. But July is supposed to be a month of not only moving forward, so it's supposed to be a time of like manifesting, action, like what are your dreams? Is there a business you've been waiting to start? Like this is supposed to be the time to take action. So July is supposed to be a month that propels us. But it's been I feel like since the beginning of June and July, there's just been a lot of tension, a lot of stuff in July has come up. It's been tense within relationships. So if you have and that's not just romantic relationships, that's friendships too, because there's just a lot of stuff coming up for everyone. And like I said, this isn't something I study, but I have been kind of looking into it a lot lately just because the energy in July has just been so tense and so heavy, and I'm like the most hyperactive person on the planet, and I want to just sleep. So we know there's a lot going on when this hyper chica just wants to sleep. So one of the things that's happening with all these planetary shifts and with the ability to propel and go forward is that a lot of old stuff is coming up. So things that are traumas, things that we need to work out, things that we've shoved down, all this stuff that we've been holding on to in our subconscious that we haven't worked out, lessons that we haven't quite learned that our soul still needs to learn, all of that stuff is coming up right now. And it's coming up so that we can see it and we can deal with it and then we can move forward. So that can come up. I've talked to a lot of people who have just cried and cried and cried. It can come up as loneliness. It can come up as anger. It can come up as frustration. It's basically our shadow side is being presented to us. And it has been eye-opening for me, let me just tell you, because in the last 2 weeks, I can honestly say that I haven't felt good about being me. I haven't felt good about all of my actions. I've behaved in ways that when I look back, I'm like, ew, that's not you, Caitlin. Why did you respond that way? Or why did you do that? That is not you. I look back and I'm like, that's not the person I'm proud of. And as I've really journaled about it and done soul searching about it and gone, what the heck? Like, I do not feel like I've put my best foot forward. You know, I typically take a lot of pride in the person I am, because I learned a long time ago that I just needed to always be very honest and straightforward and just be a person that, you know, I'm proud of. Like, that's all I really have at the end of the day. Everything else can be stripped away from you. And so in the last 2 weeks, I feel like like I said, I haven't been my best self. And so as I've journaled this out, what I've realized is that there are a lot of things that have come up that I need to work on. And some of them have been like my expectations of people. Some of them have been like trust issues I have. And like, we're not talking like just romantic. I'm talking like just in general with relationships. I probably need to do more soul searching on that. I have trust issues. Like, I trust like people's motives. Like, I don't like, to the point of where like, I don't even like accepting help, because I'm like, why are you trying to help me? What do you want? So a lot has come up, and I just want to share this with you guys, because as always, I like to share my journey in case there's something you can relate to that will help you. But I just encourage you to actually journal and figure out what is going on. Dig into your subconscious. One of my favorite ways to do this is to just get a journal out and just write. And like, for me, like, let's say I'm journaling about the topic of trust. I could just write trust at the top of the page and then just start writing down all the words that come to mind when I hear the word trust, and just write everything that pops into my head. It's free writing. And you might be like, I do talk about this a lot because it really is so powerful, because you might be like, I don't even know why I'm writing this. This is so dumb. But then you might go, I'll never trust anyone. And then like, you will just start writing all this stuff that's in your subconscious. You guys, apparently I cannot talk without losing my voice. So, sorry, my allergies are bad, and I'm one of those people that when my allergies are bad, the first thing that goes is my voice. So figure out what is going on. Figure out what are the issues that are coming up for you, why, and how can you heal them so that you can move forward. Because I do think with all of this pressure, you know that whole saying of like, pressure on coal makes a diamond. I think with all of this pressure, it's serving us, it's serving our higher good. It's bringing up these lessons that we need to learn so they're no longer holding us back, because when they're in our subconscious and they're not dealt with, it's affecting what we attract into our lives. It's keeping us from moving forward. It's holding us back from our dreams. It is changing the way we manifest. So we have to work all this stuff out. And then the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is being an empath. Because if you're feeling all of this pressure, and if you're feeling all of these emotions, you know, like I said, I didn't really know anything about astrology. I mean, I knew that I'm a Libra, and that's always been like pretty right on, but I don't know a ton about it. I love it. I think it's super interesting, but I don't know a ton about it. But like I said, I started noticing that I was feeling all of these things, and it wasn't necessarily my feelings. And it made me feel like a crazy person. It made me feel crazy that I could feel so happy and alive, and then one person could walk into the room and I felt so like just overwhelming sadness or like negativity or whatever they were feeling. And, you know, depending on what people were going through, I was feeling that, but I didn't understand that I was feeling that. And so I felt nuts. I was like, I need to be heavily medicated because I am all over the place with my emotions. And so I want to bring that up to you because a lot of times when people have anxiety, if you get overwhelmed when you go into like crowds or places with lots of people, some people even will feel pain, will actually feel the physical pain of somebody. So I just wanted to briefly talk on that, because you might be feeling all of these shifts going on and feeling your own stuff, but then you might be feeling stuff that feels so out of character for you and you don't understand it. And pay attention to that, because empaths will feel the emotions of others. They will take it on. And I did not know that I was an empath until I was taking energy classes. And I was at this energy class, and what happened was there was a girl who we were being taught to do a trauma release. So trauma is the emotional trauma that you hold in your energy field. We were being taught how to release it. I don't know what happened, because nobody shares the stories in the trauma release. It's just somebody is picked to go do it. And as she's having this trauma release, I've never been suicidal, and I feel overwhelming feelings of wanting to leave this earth, of wanting to commit suicide. And I mean, I went from it was like a switch. Like, I went from being like, this class is awesome, to like overwhelmingly depressed and not wanting to be here. And we leave the class, we are supposed to cut the cords and send the energy back and all of that. Apparently I didn't do it right. I leave the class and I have to pull over into a parking lot on the way home, and I'm bawling my eyes out, and I'm just like, this isn't me. And I'm like hyperventilating. It was crazy feeling. And I finally called the teacher, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to pry, but I need to know for my own sanity. Was this girl by chance suicidal? Because I cannot stop this overwhelming grief and defeat and feeling of not wanting to be here. And I'm like, I didn't come with this. Like, this emotion I know is not mine, because although I've had my ups and downs in life, I never had this heavy of a feeling of just not wanting to be here. And so she said, she was like, well, information is private, but yes, that is not your energy. And so that's when things really hit for me, and I'm like, maybe spirit showed me that so I could truly understand and empathize with that emotion, with those emotions. But that's what opened my eyes up to being an empath. And then I started working with a lady who taught me a lot of energy healing. And she was able to show me a lot of ways that I had changed my life in order to protect that. So because I was feeling other people's emotions, I was always the first person to try to make somebody feel good, because I didn't want them to feel bad, because I was feeling how bad they felt. And I never wanted to disappoint anyone, because I couldn't handle the feeling of their disappointment. And so I'm jumping through all these hoops because I'm feeling other people's energy. And that is a hard way to live. And let me tell you guys, it's something that I still battle with. I still have to catch myself and say, Caitlin, you are not responsible for the way that person feels. You're not responsible for their happiness. You're not responsible for how they act. Because when you feel other people's emotions, you want to try to control everything, because you don't want them to hurt and you don't want to feel their hurt. So one of the most helpful things, I think, is just having awareness of being an empath. And I will include in the description, I will include a list of ways to know if you're an empath. I feel like if you're an empath and you're hearing this and you can relate and you can say, oh yeah, gosh, I do that. A lot of people pleasers are empaths, like, because they feel other people's pain. So it's like they're constantly trying to make people happy. So if you're listening to this and you're like, gosh, I kind of resonate with some of this, you're probably an empath. You know, another way is like, I'm super outgoing. Like, I love being out and talking to people, but suddenly, I mean, I can just shut down and need to go home and I can get massive amounts of anxiety suddenly. So those are other things. It doesn't mean that you can't be around people or you don't love people, but suddenly everybody's energy can be very overwhelming. And one thing I've noticed is because I have really big energy, when people have bigger energy than mine and it comes at me, I can't handle it. It's overwhelming for me and I have to leave. And so, I mean, gosh, who knows how people feel around me because my energy is so big. But when I'm around people who have like a bigger energy than me and it's more intense, I have to go. I can't be around it. My heart will speed up. You know, I'm like, it's overwhelming and I have to leave. So, I hope this helps you guys. Let me know in the comments, like, do you think you're an empath? Does any of this resonate with you? Like, what are some of the experiences you have had? Or if your kids are empaths, what are some of the experiences they have had? And then in another video, I can talk to you guys more about what you can do to protect your energy, what you can do so that you don't feel so overwhelmed, or if you are taking in other people's energy, what you can do to send it back. Because these are things that I'm still learning, and it's more than anything, it's awareness. We have to be aware of ourselves, who we are, what's going on, and what is our baggage and what is somebody else's emotional baggage. So, all right, I hope this helps you guys, and I will talk to you guys later.